Logan, the only thing I can say, what a difference a year makes. A year ago at this time, at WrestleMania 4, you were at the side of the Macho Man when he became the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champ. 1 year later, here in Atlantic City, you're going to be challenging this very same man for the world crown.
Well, you know, you're exactly right, Mean Gene. 1 year ago, brother, me and the Macho Man were as one. We were best of friends. We would do anything to win together, brother. And if you would have told me 1 year later, right in the very same place that it started, in the Trump Plaza, that we'd be locking horns, going head on head for the WWF Championship, I'd have called you a liar, Mean Gene. But you know something? I should have seen this thing coming, man. As the Mega Power team was formed, brother, as the Summer Slams, as the Survivor Series went down, as the Mega Power started growing together, the Mania was a little bit ahead of the madness, man. But it really didn't matter. You were either in or you were either out, brother. You either believed or you didn't, man. And you were either ready or you weren't. The Macho Man made me feel that he believed in the 3 commandments of the prayers, the training, and the vitamins. He made me believe that he was in my corner, Mean Gene, and he also made me believe that he was ready to fight all odds. That's why I stuck with him, brother. That's why we stayed together so long.
You know, as that relationship with the Mega Powers deteriorated even further, Macho Man Randy Savage went so far as to attack your Hulkamaniacs.
Oh, yeah, he did more than just attack the Hulkamaniacs, brother. He went so far as to put our manager, the lovely Elizabeth, right between us, man. It was him that was eaten alive by the jealousy. It was him that was eaten alive by the lust, brother. It was a simple fact that the Macho Man couldn't be the man that all my Hulkamaniacs wanted him to be, brother. He couldn't handle the load. He couldn't handle the pressure. But what really tore us apart was the way he was so jealous of Hulkamania, the way he put Elizabeth between us, the way he manipulated her, the way he twisted this whole beautiful thing around. But I found out one thing, Macho Man. You're not a believer in the commandments, brother. You're a cheap shot artist. You take whatever you can get as quick as you want. You were never in my corner. You were always on the outside, waiting for me to make the first move. But just like Donald Trump, Macho Man, I hope you're ready, brother, because Donald Trump has questions in his own mind. He sent a whole team of seismologists out here to check the foundation of the Trump Towers, because when the Mega Powers explode off the launching pad, brother, as we erupt over the whole Atlantic City, he was worried about the foundation. He was worried that the thousands of people in the arenas might become unseated and swallowed by the earth. Donald Trump, don't worry about my Hulkamaniacs. They're survivors. They're ready. But you, Macho Man, I don't care where you stand. I don't care what you believe in. All I want from you is your best. I want you to be ready. I want the Macho Madness to be at its peak. Because when Hulkamania rules, when Hulkamania lives forever, when Hulkamania puts you down on your knees, I want the whole world to realize that I beat you at your best. And at the end of WrestleMania 5, I will be the World Wrestling Federation champion. And what you gonna do, Macho Man, when the whole world full of Hulkamaniacs destroy you?
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
GUFON Radio.
Oh, yeah.
GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
GUFON Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, what was weird is I was waiting to hear music and the whole time. I never heard any music till just now. Can you hear me? No? Okay. That's a delay. Yeah, that's weird. Why do I hear myself talking? Oh, I got you. Okay. I'm confused. Hmm. Who, me? Yeah, Rich can't hear himself. They can't hear you, right? Rich is going to stop, and then we're going to restart because he can't hear himself on the show. So, bon voyage, or whatever, however you say it. Okay. Well,
there we go. Now I'm back here. Now I'm like, tell them I'm coming back. No, I can tell them.
He can handle it.
Oh my God, this is awful.
Let me tell you something, Jeff Willis. It's great having you on the show, brother. It's been 6 months, brother, and I want to tell everybody, all the GUFON maniacs out there, that we're gonna make sure this show runs wild on you, brother.
That's great.
Welcome to the show. Good. Do you know the history of Hulk?
Yeah, you told me a little history of the Hulk.
All right, hold on. We're going to bring Jeff on the 50-50 cam. Hold on. I got to turn this off. There's Jeff. And
honestly, yes.
Oh, what the hell just happened? Look, this is so weird. Everything's going wrong at one time.
I love it when things go down, brother. It makes me feel like I'm a live being, a real person. I'm a survivor, brother. Everything goes wrong, I can fix it in a jiffy. I am the best. I am the worst. I'm everything wrapped up in one, brother.
I'm sorry, Jeff. You don't understand. That's my new anger release. No more getting angry and yelling at people.
You gotta have something.
As long as it lasts, brother. Let me tell you something. We got Jeff Willis on tonight. everybody listening, we're in the right stream. I know we're here. Jeff Willis is the original Skywatcher, the original. I am calling you a UFO researcher, whether you like that or not. I think you love it.
Yes, I am one.
You are the original. Jeff's been in this since he was born, maybe even before then. He's gone many, many, many nights wondering whether he's been abducted, yet he thinks he has. Jeff has many videos proving that UFOs exist from who knows where. Jeff has a website, UFOs Over Phoenix, and some other things. He's been on TV shows like UFO Hunters, X-Testers. He was on the History Channel, Discovery Channel. He was on UFO Hunters again. I don't know if that's true twice, but... And not only that, he's still seeing UFOs to this day. And I'm bringing him on this show, and he hasn't been here since... And I know the exact day, brother. It's January. Listen to me. July 11th. I think you were on last. Welcome to the new GUFON radio stream.
Great. It's great to be back. Thanks a lot, Rich. Good to be here.
Gonna say, actually, Jeff's gonna let his hair down. As Dave Scott would say from the mighty SOR, Jeff has a beautiful mane.
Yeah. That's when I go to work, though, I always have to put it back and, put it away. You can't let your hair down all the time,
F the man. You see this beard? This thing's gonna go down to my belly button by the end of 2025.
He's like ZZ Top, right?
I don't know if I could do that. It would be weird for me to have a beard like that. I'm only 5'2". So
well, if they let you, if it's all right, they let you do it.
Oh, listen, brother, I'm not going to be there much longer.
Right?
I hope everybody's understanding that I tried, and I hope it came through, which I think it did, the clip of Hulk Hogan going off on Mean G, which is me. Hulk is from the network I left, and Dave Scott is, unfortunately, but very beautifully, Elizabeth. And because she is the manager in the middle of two mighty powerhouses just going at it. And anytime I was doing my show, and I was getting angry when I left that network, and I said, and this is how he talks to me. He's like, he leaves me and he goes, "Are you in or are you out, brother?" And I just started doing the Hulk, and I go, "That's him." Because every time he just goes off, and nobody knows why, he just loses it, and that's what it feels like when you get berated by the Hulk. So, anyway,
yeah.
That whole intro, which, did you hear it? Were you able to hear it on Skype?
I heard nothing, no.
No, I didn't think so. I wanted to...
I waited the whole time to hear something. I was like, well, maybe next time.
You looked like you were in church. You were so patient. Just sitting there. Well, I'm glad you're here, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, what is it? Every 6 months, maybe even... I don't know, an average of that, it seems like we get you on. So,
but I've never done the video one before with you.
Can't
it's only the radio.
How is this the first time you've ever done a video interview?
Well, I mean, it's weird that I've been on all these different TV shows, Sci-Fi Channel, History Channel, like you mentioned, countless other shows on different networks and local TV shows, but I'm kind of a recluse in a way, and I don't, it's kind of weird. It's like an oxymoron in a way, because I don't really like to get out, there other than the shows that I'm on. I try to stay, radio I do, but, I always thought, hey, how about a radio show like a podcast? I did a podcast with a YouTube channel, but they didn't, of course, it was on Skype, but they didn't see me. I don't think it was that. It's on there on my list. It's like a YouTube channel, other show, but that was years ago.
It's just weird, though. I mean, I think you would have done dozens by now. Dozens, I tell you. I had in your bio or your description of who you are that you had, and with sadly enough Art Bell passing, but I remember, I think I knew you. Didn't you call into the Art Bell show with the sighting just out of the blue, or was that planned? How did that work out, that Art Bell thing?
Okay, well, what happened was we were videotaping the UFO road trip documentary that eventually became the History Channel's UFO Hunters TV show.
Right.
We pitched it to them, and they wanted to do it. But what happened was we were filming some sightings in the area, and we were up there talking to that Rob guy about his sighting up on that mountain.
Yeah.
And what happened was I had the camera already rolling for his interview. And right behind him, the UFO showed up, so I just zoomed in onto him and started taping him. And then later, Pat Uskert was like, we need to, call Art. Well, it was kind of my idea, but I talked Pat into it. But we both talked about it, and we thought, well, we should, call Art and send him the clip and see if he wants it for his show. And I sent it to Art, and Art called me just 10 minutes later. And I was in the other room, so I didn't hear the phone. So my relative gave me the phone, or she, was like, Art Bell's on the phone, and gave me the phone. And he was like, do you want to come on the show tomorrow and talk about this? I was like, yeah, sure, you bet. So yeah, that's how that happened. But it was kind of cool because I had some still shots, from video. I took some still, screenshots, and I had sent him some videos, screenshots in the past, and they put them on Coast to Coast or ArtBell.com back when he had ArtBell.com, way before I was even on the show. I had pictures on his website that he'd posted for me, so he already knew who I was, and he's put my stuff on his website before with still images. So Keith Rowland and him were well familiar with me over the years before I was even on his show.
Keith Rowland. Man,
yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Well, he's the guy who always did his website, but, this started back in, 1997 was the very first photo that was on Dreamland, or it was on his Dreamland show, presented by Linda Moulton Howe, and he presented that photo on his ArtBell.com website. So I was on the first time I was on Art Bell's website and on his Dreamland radio show was in 1997. And what happened was Linda Howe called me and talked to me on the phone about the sighting, and she recorded my voice and her conversation with me, and then later on Dreamland she played the interview with me and her on Dreamland, and they put my photographs of the UFO incident on the website artbell.com. This was way back in 1997. Right. So they're already familiar with me since 97, but later in 2002 I shot in 2003 I shot some good videos up in Mesa, and I took some still images and sent them to Art Bell, and by then it was coasttocoastam.com, and he was still doing the show, and they put some of the still photos up on Coast to Coast, and then later in 2005 is when I was on his show with those other videos. Yeah, it's a wild ride with Art Bell. I had a wild ride since 2007. I had kind of a wild ride, and with Art Bell in 2005 when I was on a show, it was like the most amazing show I've ever been on ever. I've probably done 100 radio shows and probably 50 or 60 TV shows, and it was just a memorable event.
Even to this day, that's still one of the best interviews you've ever done?
Well, it wasn't just the interview, it was the whole experience, and Art pumps you up before the show. Everybody that was ever on Art Bell knows that Art does one thing before the show, and that one thing, and I don't know if it's people are open about it or if people have actually shared this with anybody on any of the shows, but Art did something. He went completely nuts before the live time. Remember when you were just with me and you said, okay, we're going live, 3, 4, 2. Well, he starts 30 seconds in, and he just starts hooting and hollering and just going crazy, yelling at the top of his lungs, yeehaw, and all this.
Really?
It was really fun. It was great because he's going coast to coast worldwide, on 1 million affiliates all over the world, and he's pumping himself up, and he's getting me right. I was almost I was almost getting scared for a second. I was like, oh my God,
this guy's lost it.
It's we better calm down here. But It was a great ride. He was like, "Are you ready for the ride?" It was hilarious. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow, what a great story, man. That's cool, because that's something I've never heard anybody ever talk about.
Yeah, like 30 seconds before the show, he goes, "Are you ready to take a ride?" I was like, "Yeah."
I wonder if I tapped into a little bit of him tonight.
You know, I love him. You know, he was great. He was
my God, the best.
But you know what? You know, good things can't last forever. You know,
hey,
it's just
you watch your mouth, brother. You wash your mouth out with soap, brother.
You want to believe it, but
you know, it's sad the way he, you know, stopped doing radio. It was like a sputter. You know, he quit, then he came back, and he quit. You know, tried to come back.
Then he went to Sirius XM, and then he came back on his own terms on it with his own network. You know.
No,
But,
I don't. No, he didn't have his own terms, from what I thought. That's why he quit. They wouldn't
No,
give him his own terms.
when he came back from when he quit Sirius, he came back on his own terms with the Keith Rowland Radio Network, and they started Midnight
Dark
in
Matter.
the Desert.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So,
but I thought he left there because
he left Coast to Coast AM, which you know is the media conglomerate of Clear Channel Radio.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. That I
Oh,
know.
later?
I'm talking about when he left Dark Matter or
Dark
Midnight
Matter
in
was
the Desert.
Yeah, that was Sirius XM, and then he started Midnight in the Desert back on his own terms with his own subscribers, his own website, his own Keith Rowland Radio Network, and all that good stuff.
You're missing the point, but I'm going to move on.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. You know, you saw the Phoenix Lights, I think, right? Or part of them on a different time, because you were with some people back then that you haven't.
I filmed all sorts of Phoenix Lights, ever since like 1997. I filmed Phoenix Lights, but the Phoenix Lights of March 13th, 1997, was so many different things because there was. I'm sure you've watched Lynn Katai's video a million times, but remember that one scroll where it shows all the different sightings? There was like hundreds of them that night. Well, we saw orbs earlier in the day, like around 6:30 or whatever, right before the sun went down. We saw glowing orbs. We taped them. We didn't think nothing of it. We drove home, and then later we heard sightings of triangles and boomerangs and over South Mountain lights that one by individual, lights that were orbs floating that. The 10 o'clock sighting that they said were flares, and they mixed the flares in with all these other sightings. It's hard to even know what happened that night. There were so many things going on.
But how come they didn't use that footage in Dr. Lynn Katai's, or did you not know about it? What happened?
Well, they did. Remember, it was used on a couple shows. There was like one person that videotaped the real triangle.
Yeah.
And that was some airline pilot, and they used the triangle footage on that one show, Danger in the Skies. But the videotape that I did earlier in the day, which was like orbs, like right at sunset, basically, it was done on Fox 10 News. They put it on Fox 10 like one time.
The daytime shot.
Yeah, it was on there like one. Well, they maybe used it in some other news clips later, but
didn't you contact Dr. Lynn Katai and say, "Hey, I got this over here from the daytime. Don't you want it?" What did you ever go through that with her?
Well, the thing is I didn't really get to know her really until when I started going to these UFO congresses and doing these different events and stuff like that. But I mean, they didn't. I was around during the time, but I never. I was hanging around with Village Labs and with presenting them my daylight footage back in 1997. I would go in there and have all these daylight shots on VHS, and I would give it to Jim Del Toso, and we'd look at it on his computer. And he had this place called Village Labs in Tempe in 1997, and that's where we would analyze UFO footage. And then, it was after the Phoenix Lights, so I didn't really get in. The thing of it is I didn't really get into the people side of UFOs until after the Phoenix Lights was over, because I was just a skywatcher. I was just a hunter. I was only friends with certain people in UFOs. The only people that I was friends with in UFOs in 1997 was Tom King, Bill Hamilton, Jim Del Toso, and I think I had talked maybe one time with Frances Barwood when she was over at Village Labs at one point in time. But I didn't really, I was on the Arbell show in 97, and I was just barely getting into the people side and the videotape side and the whole industry of ufologies. Before 1997, I schooled myself with UFO literature since I was like basically 6 years old until like when that happened, when I was 27, is when I broke through with the video photography and my own videotaping of my own UFO sightings. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I studied ufology in books, and then I decided for myself I need to go out there and videotape it and prove it to myself that it's real. And that's how my story started, when I saw this one video about this guy on Sightings.com, or on Sightings TV show. Remember the Sightings TV show on Channel 10 or on Fox? Well, anyways, there was a show about this guy named John Bro Wilkie who can film a UFO any day of the week, or any day, anytime. He'd go out there and videotape it. And this was back in like 1996 or something like that, and that fascinated me. That was like, wait a minute, this is what I want to do. Why am I reading all these UFO books for like 10 years when you can go out and get with the camera and videotape one for yourself to prove it? Like, doesn't that just put all those books to rest? Like, when you not even ever need to read another UFO book again in your whole life if you can go out and film it for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I did. I went out there and I filmed it for myself. But first, before I did that, I contacted his friends, the people that could do it too. I contacted John Bro, and he told me, and I was somehow found out about his friend and another guy in Phoenix, Arizona. I found out from Bill Hamilton at the MUFON. I went to the MUFON, you know how they have their monthly meeting? Well, they used to be down at the Armory down there in Tempe. And I went there to find out about this guy. I either seen a newscast about him or I heard about him from Bill Hamilton. And it was a guy named Tom King that lived in Phoenix. And he was friends with John Bro, and they did the same stuff. You know, they could film stuff during the daylight. So I decided I was going to find this Tom King guy. So I went to meet Bill Hamilton. And you know who Bill Hamilton is, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, anyways, I went to MUFON and met him, got his Tom King's number. He wasn't there, so I called him later and said, hey, you know, at the time, in 1997, I was also an author and publisher of this newsletter series that I developed, and I ran ads in like the New Times and local coffeehouse magazines, and it was a UFO newsletter called the UFO Abduction Newsletter, because I was heavily into this, like, you know, the literature of this stuff proves and says that people are being abducted by aliens and all this, and there's enough evidence behind it that proves it's real. Okay, in my mind, in my eyes, I've read enough to know. Okay, so anyways, back to the story. I found Tom King. I told him, hey, you know, I run this UFO newsletter, and I'm looking into the skywatching thing with, you know, video cameras, and you know, I talked to John Bro, so I met him. I went over to Tom's house, and he opens up this closet full of these video cassettes, like wall-to-wall video cassettes, and it said on the spine of the videotape, it said UFOs over America. And this videotape, he gave me one, and I watched it when I got home, and it blew my mind. It consists of video footage from John Bro, raw footage from John Bro Wilkie, Tom King, and Tim Edwards from Slide with that cylinder. And they developed, the three of them, this video with all their footage on it. And so I was like, well, man, I'm going to be these guys are the three musketeers, so I'm going to be the fourth musketeer. So I got my camera, went over to Tom's every single weekend and videotaped UFOs, and started my documentary of tons and tons of VHSs full of camera footage from 8mm video camera of UFOs, daylight UFOs all over the place. Well, so it's not really the Phoenix Lights thing. You know, sure, it's a big sighting, but you know, we can, you know, in my mind, it's just one sighting of a million sightings. You know,
right? Which is back, because what I was originally trying to ask is because of this with Bob, right? Or what's his name? The guy you just hooked up with, Don King, whatever his name is.
Tom.
We'll call him Don. No, I'm kidding. Now you're back with him.
Yeah, he went and took a break from UFOs for a while, and then
like 15 years, right?
Like more like 19, something like that. Yeah. But anyways,
why
he's
did
back.
he? Do you know?
Yeah, he wanted to do other stuff. Like he has hobbies and stuff that he wanted. He'd been in UFOs and he had a tire. You know, I don't want to speak for him or anything like that, but from what I know, he just was done with it for a bit, and now he's back. But
Yeah,
a lot of researchers do that. You know, in UFOs.
I was just going to say that.
Go
we
away
all
for a
go
while.
through it. Yeah, we get tired of it. Why? People would be like, why do you get tired of? How can you be tired if you're seeing UFOs? Well, there's a lot that goes into it.
It's not the UFOs that we get tired of. A matter of fact, he never really did go out of UFOs. What he did was he just investigated as a private individual on UFOs. He didn't go public anymore with anything, and he decided to go underground on it. Because the thing is with us, we already know they're real, but the problem is when we present our evidence and get into the UFO field and get into the UFO community, we have to deal with people, and when you have to deal with people, you find that there's a lot of people that they're not about the truth of UFOs and about that. They're about presenting their crap, you know, and all this other stuff.
Well,
so, you know, and that's what you wanted to get to tonight, and I know you do.
I wanted to get into your thoughts on Bob Lazar coming back out. Now everybody's talking about it. Why not?
Yeah.
This is something he said he would never do, is go public like this. And here he is. I mean, what do you feel when you first saw that?
Well, I saw that just a couple weeks ago, and my first thought of it was, well, let's start out to the beginning, okay? On me with Bob Lazar.
Well, everybody knows the main story, so let's not give every detail.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give you my side of the story.
Because I think I'd commit suicide if I hear that story one more time.
Yeah. Well, what happened was with me is I heard about him, and I got the tape, the government excerpts from the government Bible, watched the tape, and I believe the story. Okay. And I ran it in my newsletter because I did believe the story.
Right.
Okay, so that's the bottom line on that. But now with him coming out all these years later, this is what I think really is. Here's a guy that told his story, and for the most part was shot down by the UFO community, really. Even though he had all the evidence in the world, and he had the top reporters behind him, you know, that guy from Nevada, George Knapp. And his story got out there, and he became like, you know, UFO God. You know, this is the guy that's got, you know, the answers to the alien crafts. You know, he knows. You know, he worked on them, so it's a big story. And he worked outside Area 51 and S4. I mean, how many people do you get to talk to that worked there? So I believe the story, you know. But the thing is about coming out again, though, is there's no real benefit for him, because this, you know, even if the guy promised him money in the DVD, like let's say they sell $1 million in DVDs and promised him like a cut or whatever, what's the point anyways?
Yep.
I mean,
Jeremy Corbelli said that Bob is not getting a dime for this. Everything's going into his pocket. This is his words, so he can make more documentaries. So Bob's not taking a dime.
And Bob never took a dime anyways.
No, he never has.
And so that's good on his credibility. But the thing of it is coming out. I mean, how many people come out? 1 million times. He's like one of the only persons that actually just went away and didn't ever come out. I mean, you see all these stories with these guys like Travis Walton and these other people that come out 1 million times a day, you know, to tell their story. Yeah, and they didn't really do it at first. They kind of shied away a little bit at first, but when their movie came out, they went full bore, you know.
Yep. They go all around town, get paid for being the speaker and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people don't get tired of it. So, I don't know.
Well, because they love the story, and if it's true and real, then they want to spread the story, and the more times you tell it, that's the best way to spread the story. And the more people that have never heard the story, they tell it to someone that's never heard it, and they spread it. I mean, you'd be amazed, you know, UFOs is such a shot in the whole, you know, deal that it's so underground, even the way it is, that there's a million people. If you walk up and down the street, here's an experiment for you. If you walk up and down the street and ask strangers if they know who Bob Lazar is, I bet you 9 out of 10 people won't know. Maybe 10 out of 10 people might not know who you're talking about.
It might be 49 out of 50 people don't know who Bob Lazar is. Seriously.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. I agree with that.
Sucks.
And you know why? Because the story just never got told enough. And we're beating ourselves over the head with the story in the UFO community, and that's why people like you are tired of hearing it, because we know, we've heard it, we heard it, you know?
It's not that I'm tired of hearing it, it's just I've been talking about it every day for a week and a half. So, you know, it's kind of tough when you keep hearing it that much.
The problem is with the story, and it's a great story, but the problem is the story is a short story, and there's not much to the story. And then once the story's over, it's done.
That's the story.
You know, and that's the story. And then if you're going to open it up 10, 15, 20 years later and tell the story, it's the same story. We've already heard it. You know.
You make a good point. There is a lot to the story, but there really isn't a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, he worked on craft.
Yeah, I mean, I can cite. I mean, it took him. If you watch excerpts from the government Bible, it took Bob Lazar sitting in front of a video camera to explain his entire story in about 45 minutes, and the story never changes. So it's about a 45-minute story, and in a nutshell, it's a guy from S4 that worked on alien craft. He saw 9 of them. He got debriefed on aliens from Zeta Reticuli that were supposed. Where this stuff come from on the craft that he nicknamed the Sport model, and he worked on it and looked in 2 levels of it, the bottom level, the middle level. He knows about gravity amplifiers, which you say control the craft in delta configuration and in other configuration, and in like 3 different configuration. One configuration used for space travel, and he showed John Lear test flights along with
his wife and another friend,
and that other guy, that other investigator, John.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Well, okay.
John Lear.
But here's the thing, Jeff. He was smart as hell, but he wasn't the most qualified person to be at S4. Why would they even choose him is the question. Somebody with little experience, very young, very green, never worked in that environment. Why him?
Well, basically, he had the connections. First, he sent in an application. This, you know, his story was he sent in an application to get a job with a different scientist, and they know about his rocket propelled cars that he makes and all this stuff. So that's how
all scientists do that. But.
Yeah, and he had a particle accelerator in his basement and all this other stuff. So I mean, he was you know, maybe if you know a guy is a physicist and a scientist and he can do all the right stuff that you need him to do, then why not get a guy that's kind of wet under his, get his feet wet and
you don't learn on the job. What are you doing? Back engineering alien craft? There are
what I'm saying is
5 other guys that could have done way better.
Well, I'm saying that they probably gave him an IQ test. They probably knew he had what it took to do it. Is what I'm saying. They knew he was equal to this other guy.
Well, that doesn't bode well for our frickin' government. They failed miserably. The guy, he takes his friends out, breaks the friggin' law 10 times over. I mean, they didn't vet him. I don't know why they would choose a guy.
I don't think that they expected the guy to go right into to the Las Vegas television and tell him, hey, they're testing these craft and they're anti-gravity and all this stuff.
Well,
they thought they were going to have someone that wouldn't spill the beans.
Right,
you know?
Right. So that doesn't bode well for our government. If that's how they vet people, they pick a guy who's very young.
They didn't really. You know, he got some. What happened was he got some good references, and so that's where they dropped the ball. They were like, "Oh, this guy's going to play ball." And
I think, my point is, and this is where it's all going. There was a method to me talking about that. I think this has been a 30-year plan. Think about where we're at, Jeff. Okay, on December 16th, a year ago, was it? To the Stars Academy came out with their first video, right? They announced all these people, Luis Elizondo at the beginning of this year. Then you got Oumuamua comes into town from an interstellar thing. They found all these new moons that they never, 40 new moons. How do they miss 40 moons around Jupiter or Saturn, right? Now they're also, you know, then we had the Sunspot Observatory shut down because of supposed, you know, pedophilia routine. There's a lot of things that are leading up to Bob Lazar now coming out, being forward as the guy who is the only one who came forward like this and talked about working with alien craft.
Well, there was another guy. There's a couple other guys.
But nobody like this.
David Adair was pretty up there.
Yeah,
but
I know what you're saying, but maybe they're all part of it. You know what I mean? Maybe they're all chosen to leak out the information. It's just weird, Jeff, that a guy who said he wouldn't even bother doing anything like this came out and bothered doing something like this. And it's very intrusive. And Jeremy Corbell said this, that he begged him to do it. Probably broke the guy. Probably Lazar said, all right, I'll do your freaking movie. Leave me alone after it's done. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't think that's even a possibility?
I think that's a possibility because the thing of it is a guy comes out and tells this kind of story, you got to know it's going to ruin your life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only one that's going to believe you are the niche people in this community, and half of those people aren't going to believe it either. So you're really down the tubes for the rest of your life, really. You come out that major, you think that he goes to Circle K or 7-Eleven, people say, you know, some people's going to notice him, recognize him, because that story went big in that area back in the day. You know, he was on TV a lot, you know, at first.
I know. That's what's crazy about it. First he comes out as Dennis, then he decides, okay, I'm going to be me. Why all these changes? Why the secrecy and then coming out, going away, and then coming back? There's a pattern with him, and I don't like it.
Well, I think you're looking at a guy that just doesn't want to do the UFO deal. He doesn't want to do the UFO circuit, so he's kind of playing the game where he can kind of be in it and not be in it at the same time. The way he comes in and out like that is kind of my thing on it.
You know what?
But he was friends with key people like John Lear and George Knapp, and they told his story, and they saw the video of the saucers, and you know, and the thing is about his case is it's so ironclad like some of those other cases, but it's in a different way. So he feels like if he comes out too much, that he's probably still fearing for his life. You know what I'm saying?
If they wanted him dead, he'd be dead. They don't miss the government.
Yeah, but that thing, that Ace of Spades thing they were talking about, you know of that, right? About the element 115?
Yeah.
Well, it's claim that he may have some, and that's his trump card. That's why they're not going to kill him, because guess what? If they kill him, there's someone that knows where it is that's going to release the information. He probably said, if I die, then this is where it is, and you need to go straight to George Knapp with it and bring that element 115 to him. So you know what I'm saying? They're probably not going to mess with him.
The government would have followed him for years if it took it, and killed everybody he came in contact with if that was the case. I'm telling you. No, it's true. I mean, that's things. This is reality, man. I mean, he went on air to save his life, basically, according to him.
That proves his story true, though, if they do that. Then everybody around the case will say, hey, all these people are missing, so this proves the case is real, you know?
Yeah, I know.
It'll snowball even more if they do that.
I know. It was a very... he got lucky. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he's one of those very few people, like David Adair, or the other guy, that there's very few people. Like, look at the history of black. Okay, look, millions and billions of dollars. Let's say trillions. Okay, trillions of dollars are spent on the black budget and the black budget cover-up. Now, do you think maybe out of all those billions of dollars and all those workers and all those people in on it, that only two people like David Adair or Bob Lazar could slip through the cracks? That's reasonable, right?
I guess so.
You know, all the other people that did it probably were dead, or they probably got them. You know,
or they kept, either that or they kept to themselves. So you know what? Good point, man. Because if you think of the percentages of how many people and only 2 or 3 get out, that's not a bad percentage. But I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at UFO abduction, there's 2 ironclad cases. You got Travis Walton, and you got the Pascagoula, Mississippi case with the 2 fishermen. I mean, right there, those are 2 ironclad right there. You can't stop that. That is definitely abduction right there.
You know, Travis Walton plays the same card Bob Lazar does. Travis Walton acts like he's mad all the time, so he's not very approachable because he hates talking about it. He said, he goes, I'm tired of doing this, but, you know, he gets paid, and I guess it gets him out of the house. But I think there's a certain allure, a certain feeling they get from the spotlight. And I don't know, it's just me. I know I would like it. If people were talking about me all the time, forget about it. I'd be happy.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is, like, when I go on a show, I like, you know, how my experience is with it after I go on some shows. You know, I've been on a lot of shows, you know, so it doesn't make me, you know, for some reason it has the opposite effect. It doesn't make me want to come out on YouTube or Facebook and do live stuff because people already know who I am. People already saw me on these shows. It kind of gives, it has, maybe it's just my personality or whatever, but I don't like to, like, go out and, like, make, you know, videos like my own videos and stuff like that. But I'll be on someone else's show or someone else's video. I don't have a problem with that. But when it comes for me to do it myself and put my own stuff out there like that, I'd rather do it on a DVD where I show you my video footage of UFOs, and then you'll pan over and you'll see me taping it, and maybe I'll say something. And that's how I put my stuff together, you know. But, you know, who knows? Maybe in the future I would be comfortable with doing a radio show or whatever. But with these guys, or, you know, posting videos on Facebook or YouTube all the time of me just saying what I feel or whatever. But with these guys, these other guys, I don't know if they necessarily do that. I mean, but they are on a lot more shows than I am, and, like, they're on, like, thousands of shows. Maybe I'm on a couple hundred on maybe 100 TV shows or maybe a couple hundred radio shows, but they're on, like, thousands of TV shows, thousands of radio shows, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and they're not getting paid for a lot of them probably, too. But, you know, maybe a lot of them they are. So,
I know. I think they are getting paid.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot.
If there's a paycheck in it, then they're going to keep doing it. And they don't do it. Maybe they don't do it for the love of it like we do it, because we do it for the love of UFOs, for the love of ufology, for the study of it, to see another UFO, to witness it. But these people, we're talking about people that are telling a story of being, like, taken by aliens and, like, tortured by them and stuff. So it's like a terrible experience. So it's not all about, like, trying to get to the bottom of it. They got to the bottom of him, you know. So it's kind of a different. It's kind of a different thing, you know. We're studying his case, you know. Yeah. What's on the other? I mean, we only videotaped some UFOs, you know, and maybe we had some weird experience at night where maybe we could have said we might have been abducted, but there's no evidence for it, and they don't let us remember it or anything like that, like they did him. So, I mean, it's a completely different thing. Do
you think you have any videos that you could be killed for?
Well, it's all, I put everything on YouTube, so it's there so they can see it, so they're not going to want to bother me for it. They can just watch it, you know what I'm saying? But if I did, I'd put it on YouTube anyways, you know? Why not? You know, I mean, that kind of stops them from wanting to come in and take all your videotapes and your you know, what has he got? What did he shoot that he's not releasing? Well, I'm not. I'm putting it all out there, you know? Did you keep anything?
No, I was going to say, at one time I kept my videos in a safety deposit box.
Oh, yeah.
Because there were some things that I really was getting followed, I think, for.
Well, before YouTube came out, I kept kind of the same type of precautions because I put them in, like, a safe place, you know. So, you know, because you're, like, remember before, basically, let's say, before, you weren't even in UFOs, but I think 2003, were you in UFOs in 2003?
No, 2004.
Okay, well, in 2003, I had, like, my GeoCities website out, and it had all my footage, or you know, they had links to downloads because there was no such thing as YouTube, so you can download the video to your computer, right? And so I put all my videos on my GeoCities website, and I was thinking, well, these are all only, like, minute-long clips of videos that I have, like, that last, like, an hour, you know, sometimes 20 minutes. UFOs sitting there, and back then you could only upload maybe a minute of it, you know, for people to download. But anyways, I had, like, you know, 30 or 40 of these videos, and I kept all my 8mm cassette, you know, video cassettes, like, you know, all stashed away because we were afraid of, man, what if, like, the FBI comes in and wants to, get my UFO footage or something. We always had that in the back of our head because, we thought, well, maybe they were interested in UFOs still, even though they claim they're not. But as a UFO researcher and a UFO video photographer that videotapes UFOs and has hundreds of 8mm tapes of UFO footage, you get kind of paranoid at, like, what do they want to know about? But then when YouTube came, everybody, I just uploaded as much as I could on there. I'm sure I have thousands of stuff just like the stuff that I put on YouTube, but it's all the same stuff. It's just the same type of junk. So you just put up as much of it. And I call it junk because, for one reason, because a lot of it's so unidentifiable, it could really be anything. UFOs, unidentified flying object, might not be an alien spacecraft. It might be a balloon or something that looks, we think it looks like UFO, so we put it up there. It's good enough to pass the muster. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to throw all kinds of junk up there either. But that's why I have countless VHS tapes that have never seen YouTube or never seen the light of day because they didn't pass the test to me.
What's your test? What's your litmus test on one passing?
Well, if you could see strings, that's not. I don't put stuff up like that. But
what are you talking about, man? That's the tails from the lizard.
Yeah,
people.
Exactly, and that's what we were saying about these Facebook groups where where me and you went on that show that one time and talked about these anomalies groups that put up balloons and call them like shifting, shape-shifting, morphing UFOs and all this stuff. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, that
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that Jeff Woolwine guy said he had 200 UFOs in a year, and they were all balloons. There was a turtle, one that was, you put it in a pool or something, or one shaped as a turtle, one was a letter. I mean, everything you could imagine was just not UFO.
Yeah, and we talked about it before. Like, he was like, this is a guy that tapes balloons and flares and wanted to just contact all the UFO researchers, and all the Skywatchers to try to get famous on garbage footage,
Well, that's what he said. So. He told me that at Dr. Lynn Kitai's first Phoenix Lights movie premiere. He goes, "Hey, Richard, didn't know you were going to be here." And I go, "Oh, yeah, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm writing a book, man. I'm going to get famous. I'm going to have my own TV show, man." Remember? And then he came out with his own cable show, which you have to pay for to be on TV.
Well, it was that public access where they give a TV show to anybody. You could just walk in there and say, "Give me a show," and they're like, "Okay, 9 o'clock, sign your name," and you can go in there and juggle for half an hour if you want. It's for free,
No, it's not free. It cost $300 a month, I heard.
Well, it used to be free, like a long time ago. They would let anybody just. Yeah.
Everything's done in HD. They give you a tape now. It's all pretty nice.
That's kind of a good thing to have, but the problem with it is when you let any nut job on to do a show, you're kind of, give me a break.
Hey, we all go. We all have a learning curve, but when you never get over the hump to the other side of that curve, it's just something's wrong with with these people, that person.
Well, the thing is they think they can get famous off of it if they just if they present bogus stuff, but believe it in their. It's almost, do they believe their own garbage footage or something? Yeah. Because it seems like they do. Like, as I tried to tell them, I said, "Dude, that's a flare. You can see the smoke on it. See that smoke trail or whatever, or see that string on that balloon." They attack you. Like, no. They come up with a lie about what it is. That's not smoke. That's just blurriness of the camera. Or that's not a string. Like, what did he tell you? Or he told me the same thing.
It was a tail from the lizard people.
He told me it's an arm that reaches down and picks up animals and stuff like that.
He told me it was a tail.
Yeah, I was like, come on.
Well, they're all over the place. I'd have to believe it to
see it,
But he had a following. If this guy really played his cards right, I was afraid he was going to make it. But he was so... Yeah, I know.
It takes 5 seconds to see the video and say, what is this? Why does this guy think it's a UFO? It's the first thing when I looked at the videos, the first thing I thought is, why does he think it's a UFO? It's not a UFO. I don't get it.
But at one point, he was on Jeff Rentz. He was on all the big shows.
He was never on Jeff Rentz.
He wasn't?
No.
I thought he was. Oh, I'm thinking... Oh, I was. But I'm thinking of... who's the guy who died last year? The guy,
the big guy, Bob Dean, you mean?
No, the radio host.
Oh, not Art
from
Bell.
Arizona.
A radio host from Arizona died?
Yeah, he was bald, like almost balding. He had a big booming voice. Well, anyway.
Oh, you mean that Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith,
yeah, died a long time ago.
Well, it felt like a year ago.
But the thing is about Kevin Smith is I did Kevin Smith's show a lot too, a long time ago, and that show, no one listened to that show. I bet like 5 people listened to that show.
No.
Yeah, because he always, dude, I swear, because every time I went on that show, he talked about how it was worldwide and all this stuff. They'll have 1 million listeners, and you know how many people went to my website after a 2-hour show with him?
Oh, yeah.
5 people.
That sucks. So he really was nowhere. He played it like he was the next best thing.
He thought he was like someone big, but he was... See, that's the thing. In this UFO game, a lot of people play off that they're someone they're not. And
yes.
They play off, and they also try to be something they're not when they never were there to begin with, because what they are... And this is... And I'm telling you, this is where this name came up with, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. There's a old word called hack, and I'm sure you've heard of hack. And this is someone that wants to be someone else, and so they try to copy everything that they do, so they think that they're going to be just like that guy and so great like him and so famous like him and everything. And you see these people coming out of the woodwork. Every time a guy like me or you films UFO and film the real thing, that go after the real thing, that have a legitimate passion for it, there's always a hack that's going to come in and try to steal that glory away from people. You know, and that's what you see in UFOs. People come and do it all the time. So, you know, they present hoaxes and all sorts of other mischief to try to get themselves famous. You know, instead of just going out there and doing the right thing, doing the right thing, filming the real thing. You know.
I want to talk about me for a second.
Yeah.
Because no, seriously, I want to ask you something though.
Yeah.
Because I never ever asked anybody this next question or questions or whatever, because, you know, you and I, we were I guess more like acquaintances than like buddies that would hang out. We saw each other whenever, you know, if we had a sighting, we'd talk about it. And, you know, at one point we were friends pretty good. They're doing the show for a while. But I think I could ask you this and you can tell me with honesty. So, you know, at one point I was pretty hated and probably still am by a lot of people, but most people forgot and moved on. Did you ever hear anything about anybody talking shit about me behind my back? I wanted to ask, like,
you know,
not Jeff Woolwine.
I've known you for so long now. It's like I feel so comfortable just talking with you about, like, you know, it's amazing because we did that show back in what, 2007 or something like that.
Yeah,
for like 10 episodes.
No, 2006.
2006, and we did like 10 episodes or something.
Yeah.
But then I knew you like a year, maybe a year before that, like a whole year. I knew you all of 2005 because we shared sighting reports and we shared, you know, we were on different shows. Different shows would call each other and stuff like that. But you just, like, it was weird because you came into the scene like around 2004, right? Or 2000. Yeah, you were just like, boom, Rich Giordano's in UFOs. You know, there's a guy, you know. And
just out of nowhere,
he's Skywatcher, just like us. All of a sudden, you come in, and it was kind of a unique experience because all these Skywatchers were popping up, like Josh and you, and then that Jeff Woolwine guy, and it wasn't like, it was like, I'm going to investigate all these guys because all these I mean, I've been a Skywatcher for like 5 or 6 years prior to you guys and videotaping my own stuff.
Yeah,
and it was only like me and Tom and a couple others, and now all of a sudden these guys are coming out of the woodwork all over the place. What's going on here? And so, like, I investigated all you guys, and you were legitimate. You know, Josh had some legitimate stuff, but bottom line, after you took off and did the show by yourself, you know, and started doing the stuff. Okay, and I listened in a few times, and my God, dude. You just like tear everybody apart. You know, it's a great thing to have. I mean, really, it's someone to come in and just say, "Hey, we're not going to let all this stuff slide." You were that guy.
There was nobody else doing that.
There was no one there doing it. Okay, and so, sure, it may have rubbed people a wrong way, but guess what? You did it in a way. You did it in a fun way too. Like,
that's what I hear.
The thing of it it wasn't all like, let's just beat this person to hell, you know. At the same time, you would like, it's like your best buddy when you and your best buddy are kind of beating each other up, you know. you don't want to really hurt the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like back when you're kids, you know?
No, I wanted to hurt these people.
You see, you were the other guy. You were the guy that wanted to hurt him. Well, anyways, you wanted to hurt him, but at the same time, the way the show was taken was, yeah, he just exposed this guy and tore him to shreds, and this guy's never going to have a career again or whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, you did it with a lot of bada bing, bada boom, you know, a little humor here and there, you know, and it was like, well, this guy, you know, he's... you did a great thing, okay, in my opinion, because you were the only guy that come out and do that. But you got some low blows here and there, and that's probably why they come out, you know, out of the woodwork. Some people didn't like that, you know.
So my question was, did anybody ever talk to you about me?
No one.
No one ever said anything. See, that's what I knew.
You know, that's you know what? No one ever said a word to me ever about you.
Nope.
And you know what? It wasn't. It wasn't that I ever wondered about that, but it was one weird thing. Is when in like 2006 or 2007, I believe it was, I was doing that UFO Congress thing up in Laughlin, Nevada, and I had my own table.
Oh,
and some guy come up to me and he goes, "Have you ever heard of Jeff Woolwine?"
Oh no!
I thought to myself, "This is unbelievable." And you know what I'm saying? Because here's people like you that no one's ever said a dang word to me ever about you, and you're like the exposer, or even in a radio way, like, hey, have you ever heard that show, the Richard Donner Show?
Right.
But you changed the name of your show a lot too over the years, and that might have something to it. But the thing of it was, I think when you come out and you expose people and you do that kind of stuff, you would expect that. You would expect a lot of researchers in UFOs say, hey, have you ever heard of this guy? He will tell you what's going on with these people. He doesn't sugarcoat it or whatever. You know, you would think that would be something that would pass around, you know, and people would know about it. And, you know, I don't know if you know this or if you have access to it, or if you know, like, whatever the name of your show was, all these different times that you called yourself this or that, whatever one show was your biggest show ever that had the most views and all this. I don't know if you know that stuff, but
I do.
But if you do know that, and you can add all those other shows up too, then you know that those are not just the same people listening. That's a lot of people, and so. It doesn't matter. A lot of people know who you are, and maybe they're not going to tell people or talk about you to other people, but they know you, dude.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I know. They might have heard my name, but that's not why I was asking, you know, for a pat on the back. I was just wanting to ask you, all these shows you come on here, and I never asked because I don't think it's my time. You know, you're the guest, so I always gave you that. But we've talked about so many things, and I wanted to just ask you on air. I just thought of it. I never think of it while we're talking on the phone. You know, like I could have asked you before the show. It just didn't come to me then.
Yeah.
So while we were talking now, I just thought I'd ask. But that's interesting. But I know when I met people, they sure as hell acted different. Boy, oh, you're Rich Giordano, huh? Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, and then, you know, they walk away, or they're like, oh my God, dude, you're crazy, you know, that kind of stuff. Or one guy's like, dude, interview me. I'm like, okay. He's like, are you gonna get mad? You're gonna get mad, right? And I'm like, no, why am I gonna get mad?
No. But you used to goof on people a little bit more back before, but not as much now. You're kind of softer now, a little bit, and not in a bad way, but it's just like you do go back into that mode here and there. It's still there. It's just not as much. It's like you can listen to one of your shows and you'll tear somebody apart just as bad as you did back in the day one show. But the difference is you don't you don't focus on it. You move on and go into fun stuff and other stuff, you know, or whatever. You know, you have more of a balance and the show's, you know, better. Because I remember some of those first shows, dude, you would rail on Jeff Woolwine for like 3 hours straight or something like that, dude. It was harsh.
It was at least an hour and a half some nights.
Yeah, it was hard to listen to, man. I mean,
get it, but
I get it. But, you know, I had the same frustration as with all those guys that didn't produce the right kind of footage and wanted to be out there trying to make a name for themselves. There was lots of them. It wasn't just that guy. There was lots of them out there.
Well, you know, the reason I'm not that guy is because I'm not that guy anymore. You know, I've grown a lot, I've learned a lot, and I've experienced things that I laughed at people for. So when it happens to you, you're like, holy crap, I just saw something move. And I used to laugh at people, you know, on these ghost hunting shows. Oh, this just moved.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And things have moved in front of me now twice, and I've seen things out of the corner of my eye. I've had a lot of weird stuff happen the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, and I was asking you about that last time. It's like you finally found out what that noise was in the sink. It was some ghost doing something with the spoon in there. And then after you found out, you could have videotaped it, and you said you tried, and it never did it. As soon as you set up the camera and try to get it, it won't do it. But when you put the camera away, all of a sudden, here it comes, doing it all night long again. It's like, you know, there's consciousness to it. Yeah. You know, there is a intelligence behind it. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to get caught on to. If they really want to, one of these days, maybe they'll give you a show and while you'll get a videotape of the spoon flipping up and no one doing anything with it. You know, and it'll be cool. You'll get that one time, and they'll do it for you or something. But you only need one time.
But
then no one will believe it anyways. They'll think it's a trick.
Yeah. Rich Giordano finally is faking stuff now.
But didn't you do something like that? You put a video out there that you said you saw something move or something. Wasn't there a video back a while ago?
In 2007.
Yeah, explain that again. I can't remember.
So I had moved to Chandler, 45 miles from where I used to catch all my good stuff. So I started Skywatching heavy. And I was seeing cool stuff way out in Chandler where I lived. So one night I walk out. And I walked to the front of my house, and we were the only house there at the time. So I'm looking across the road about a quarter mile away, and I see 2 rows of lights in the sky. And it looked like they were waving. Like they looked like a flag in the sky. It was really weird. And then I started walking closer, trying to get a different view, and I realized it was spider webs that were hanging off of the light posts on the street, and it reflected the light reflected off of the web, and it looked like something way in the distance in the sky. So I thought I would do an experiment and I would do what all the other fakers do. They only show you the part that you can't figure out. So I posted the first minute of that video, and I wanted to do an experiment, and I wanted to see if my friends, you know, people I trusted, people who listened to the show and followed religiously, would be honest with me and tell me that it's not a UFO. But yet everybody loved the video, and they're telling me, oh my God, that's phenomenal, I can't believe you got that. And then the next day I came out on my show and I told everybody, look, I played a little experiment with you, and everybody was freaking pissed. They're like, you freaking faked that to test me? And, you know, and I started getting a lot of hate mail for a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
Well, you know, that happens every now and then when you want to test or see something. I never done nothing quite like that, but I did something kind of similar. But before I get into anything like that, I was talking about a different video where I thought that a while back there was a video of you filming in your room or in your house, and you did a video where something moved on camera behind you or something.
Oh no, I was doing I was doing a show. I was doing a Hangouts show.
That's what I was talking about. Explain that, because is that something that you got on video? Or
yeah, it's still there. I for some reason can't get it. I have all those shows recorded from live stream when I used to do a Hangouts show, and I was doing a Halloween show, and everybody dressed up. I think that was the episode, and you know, everybody was having fun, and I was, oh wait a second, no, I think it was during the week of Halloween. I can't remember exactly, but it was Halloween week, and I was putting a spell on somebody or doing something silly, telling a scary story. I don't remember, but behind me the door closed. Like it started closing, and people are like in the chat room going, the door is closing, the door is closing. And I'm not reading the chat room, I rarely do. And then it opened up. So the door closed, opened, and then closed halfway, and it was caught on video. And I didn't know it was happening.
Wow.
It was so cool, yeah. So that was really weird. And I tried to duplicate it, you know, I was trying to sit in the same spot and try to rock back and forth, see if I can, you know, make it move. It was weird.
Yeah, I think you got some maybe haunting stuff going on around you in different because you say it follows you around, and that maybe that's true at some point. But maybe you got some relatives looking after you, or just kind of playing around with you a lot.
If I was to hedge a bet and believed, I would have to say, yep, that is it. Somebody's a guardian angel. So just talk to me, man. Make me successful. What are you doing, making my life miserable? Frickin' A, right?
Wave a magic wand and make some money show up.
God, everything in life has got to be a lesson. Screw you. I don't want a lesson. I want money. I want money, broads. I want booze, broads, and bonuses. And not in that order. It's very interesting when you catch something like that. And back to the spoon thing, I almost caught it on video. I heard the spoon shuffling around, and I got my phone and I started recording, and as I got up to the spoon, I heard it slide across the countertop, and I got to it, and it just as it stopped moving, it was rocking back and forth, but you can see it was hanging over the edge. It was about to fall on the ground. Pretty cool. Yeah, really weird stuff. I also have one where my dog's bowl moved about 5 inches.
That's the one I was talking about. That is the one I was thinking about. I couldn't remember what it was. I thought it was something else, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay, so I got a new phone.
But you got that one on video, though.
I still have it, yeah. I always had an iPhone. And when I got this new Android Samsung Note 8 phone, I noticed the video was exhilarating. It was bright. It was so much better than the iPhone. So I wanted to duplicate exactly what I see on my phone by videotaping my TV. And when you turn it in portrait mode, it turned it long way, so it's a small little box, right? So I duplicated that on my phone. I turned it in portrait mode. I had my TV, like about 8 feet away from me, and I put it at the top of the screen on my phone. And I was vaping at the same time. So when you watch a YouTube video and you turn it in portrait mode, it has that small box and it moves to the top of your phone. So I was duplicating that with my TV. I'm blowing my vape out, and I didn't know it was happening, but I was just blowing it out, and it happened to blow over the desk or the little table I have in front of me. And it was cool. And I saw that the TV created this light, and the vape, the smoke or whatever you call it, the mist, looked brilliant, I thought. So I kept blowing bigger and bigger shit out forward, and not knowing the dog's little container was moving. I didn't know it because it was dark. Only the shadow of the TV and the smoke was showing that was moving. So I had no idea. I'm looking at a phone and just vaping, and when I looked at that, I didn't notice it the first couple of times. It was the third or fourth time. I go, wait a minute, did that just move? And it moved 1, 2, 3, about 4 times. And one time it moved about 5 to 6 inches, and I was just freaking out. And I had to do my show right after that, so I didn't have time to really look at it. But after the show was over, I couldn't stop looking at it. And then
it really did move, though. Really, you looked at it.
I posted it to Facebook, and I was getting beat up over it. So I said, "Screw you! You don't deserve to watch this." And that's how I felt. Yeah. So you're gonna beat me up over this? And no, you know what? I don't want you to watch it. You don't deserve it. So I took it off.
Yeah, because if it moved, it moved. If they can't see that, that's their problem.
They're trying to tell me, there was some string or it was video editing. I'm like, you can't win.
Oh, man, they accused you of that? Oh, my gosh.
You can't win. Because if it's too good, Jeff, even I would do the same thing. So I understood it, but I didn't want to hear it because I never saw something move before.
And that's kind of the part the problem we have as UFO video photographers or videographers. If we film something or tape something too good, then we're accused of that. But I never have been. I mean, I just tape what I see and put it out there, and they never accuse me of hoaxing anything. What they do is they say, oh, that was like a misidentification. That was just a balloon or a bug or something. They just debunk it as the video. Like I'm too dumb to know what I'm videotaping or whatever, Basically, they attack the person that's doing it. It's basically they're not attacking the person that's doing it, but if you say my footage is just a balloon or whatever, you basically are, because you're saying that we don't have enough common sense to know what these things are, And we've done that before. We taped what a balloon and a bug and all this other stuff was, and they don't look the same. They look different. They don't look like that.
Night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day. They don't look. And I did a bunch of balloon tests, and I posted a couple of those videos on my website when I had it, because Facebook wasn't around. We had MySpace, but I never posted anything there. But I never got beat up either. I only got beat up for that ghost thing.
Yeah.
For the dog bowl, because I don't know why. Because people just like, I don't know. They want to bully the bully. I think, you know what I mean. That type of shit.
Yeah.
So they think it's funny that, make Rich mad. He's gonna get mad, but I just took it down. I said, you're not worthy of it. I'll post it again.
Right.
I'm gonna post it on my site when I'm ready.
Yeah. But hey, that happens. If you can get it on video, that's great. Get a ghost on, tape and yeah. I mean, I never have any ghost stuff, and I'm glad. I don't like ghost crap.
Have you ever been on a ghost hunt?
Yeah, I have actually a couple times. But the thing of it is when I did that, it was way back in like 1992 or 93, and I was into the UFO literature a lot, heavily in 92, 93. Like I have literally hundreds of books on the subject, and I bought like at least 100 books or more between 91 and 93 on UFOs, and a lot of them were ghost books too. And Art Bell always had the ghost hunters on there a lot, and with the EVP stuff. So I used to do that a lot. I know you. When back in those days, though, it was like, what other evidence can you try to get other than video and maybe tape record of an EVP or whatever?
But they got some good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can get good stuff. I mean, if you're in your house all by yourself and you've got a tape recorder running, and then you play it back and you hear some crap in the background and you didn't have the TV or radio on, it was just you, then something's that's something. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
You bring up an interesting point without even knowing. The equipment back then wasn't as advanced as it is now. Do you think it may have been better, or is it better to use the older equipment than this new stuff?
I would always just use a standard tape recorder, because there's no possibility of any radio interference of any kind onto the tape. You know what I'm saying?
You mean with a digital recorder you can get a radio interference?
Well, I don't know, but I would always use analog just to keep away from any possibility of anything,
Yeah, but the only analog you can buy are old video recorders online. I guess you can go to eBay. Somebody's selling them, but
at Walmart they have the standard tape recorder with the tape cassette.
Oh,
you can put in
really?
those little box thing, the little box.
Like the old Walkman?
No, like the bigger ones where you put a cassette tape in, you turn the volume up on the side and put the tape. Yeah, the old school.
No way.
One.
Oh, and you hold it by the handle?
Yeah.
Kind of like the 1977 type of recorders.
Yeah, but it's more compact.
Yeah.
It's all new, but it's
that's
still
cool.
Same analog tape. They sell the cassette tape still and the recorders, same thing.
I think it has to do. Why would it record on that? And digital, which that I don't understand, because I thought it ran by frequency. I thought that the beings
no, it's sound. It is real. They're audibly. It's like a dog whistle. You know how only the dog can hear it.
Yeah.
Well, if you did that dog whistle and pressed record on a tape and did the dog whistle, you would hear it on the tape probably, but not with your ears. I'm thinking, but
I don't think so. That's a good test, though, to try.
Yeah, different frequencies. Maybe there's a way to turn up the tape to hear the whistle or something. I don't know. I really don't know, but it's got to do with. It's a frequency in a way, but it's also a real sound at the same time. Like if it would have been a little bit louder, you probably would have heard it audibly and not caught it on tape.
Then why?
And maybe the ghost or whoever's making the talk is doing it right next to the speaker, really softly, and there's no way you can hear it unless you put your ear right next to the tape recorder speaker where they're whispering it in, or I don't know.
No, because they've got EVPs where you could hear people in the distance. They have EVPs where you hear a guy sounding like he's right up next to the recorder, and all these people hold the recorders right, a foot from their face, and you hear spirits going.
Yeah, that's why I go back to the dog whistle theory. It's a frequency, but if it really, really wanted to, it would let you hear exactly what it's doing audibly. I'm thinking. Like because on the Ghost Hunter show, every now and then they do hear an audible one.
Yeah,
like the television show ones where you can hear it.
Yeah, I know. You can hear it on their the video. It's really cool that I mean I don't know if you're aware when I did my ghost hunt earlier this year, trying to contact my brother-in-law who passed.
You told me a little bit about it, but not a lot.
So I went over now years ago, like 25 years ago. He had a daughter who died of leukemia at 13. Cancer runs horribly bad in their family. All the men died young. He died young. So when I went over to his house, because my sister's house caught on fire after he died. It's a long story, but he put it on fire in his death.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, pretty bizarre shit. So the workers who were coming over to rebuild the house saw a man walking around wearing this workout outfit. And they go, "Sir, you can't be in here," and nobody's there. So they described them to my sister when she came home, and my sister whipped out a picture in her husband's workout outfit. That was his favorite. And they said, "That's the guy. We saw him walking around. He was wearing the same exact thing." Yeah, that's weird, right?
I remember that story.
Yeah. So I asked my sister. I go, "Can I go over to your house and try to make contact with him?" "Yeah, go ahead." Okay, so I go over there. Nobody came with me. I went by myself. Everybody else chickened out. And when I was there,
I talked to you the night you were going over there. You were like, "I'm going over."
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like, yeah, I got to hear this story after find out what happened.
I think I was driving down or before. I remember that. Well, anyway, I start driving home and I'm playing it through the speakers of my car. And I hear a girl's voice in the video, in the audio. It sounded like it could have been his 13-year-old daughter. That's what and the things she was saying were really like somewhat intelligent to what I was doing. But it was very interesting to hear a girl's voice, not a woman, not a child, a girl, like a teenager.
Yeah.
And
you know what the problem is? You know what the problem is they can see everything that you're doing and everything that they can see you there. They can see everything that's going on, but they can't communicate with you.
Right.
And the only way they can do it is by those voices or EVPs or manifest enough energy to have a physical apparition or whatever.
Yeah. But how does that work on the other side? How do they learn how to do that? You know what I mean?
Well, I like to believe, this is what I like to believe. And of course, no one knows.
No one knows.
But, only one guy came back 3 days after, and there was one guy, so listen. And the people that I think he raised someone from the dead too, in the Lazarus or whatever. So we're not going to make it the Bible thing or anything like that. But to be real,
I thought you were talking about Travis Walton.
No, I was talking about Jesus.
Jesus,
He come back from the dead 3 days later, and he also resurrected Lazarus, from the dead. So there's a couple people, and I think he brought a girl back too. So there's been a few people that have probably been raised from the dead or whatever, and they can tell the story of life after death, and all of these books that people write, Life After Death, The Tunnel, and all the stuff they saw, and all this stuff. Okay, so listen, this is the thing. Okay, this is what I like to believe. I believe like when someone passes away and they go to heaven or whatever, they're in heaven with God and they get all the afterlife benefits of heaven and that. But they can also come back here and interact with us in this way. And I don't know why or how it works, but it's kind of like the best of both worlds in a way. Like you can come back and visit your loved ones and see what's going on, but at the same time, you can have paradise in heaven and all this, So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. That's just how I like to believe it,
You know what I believe? And I'll be brief because this could be lengthy, so I know what I'm going to say. I believe before we come to this planet, where a light being or a being that can experience very many beings through whatever. And I
believe that too.
I believe, yep, I believe you can pick your mother and father or mother and say, I want to be with it. Now, I'm just using from what other people said they could do. People remember before they were born. When they're children, they're like, Mommy, I chose you. I wanted you to be my mommy, these kids tell their mothers.
Yeah.
So I believe if we take these stories of that, and I believe each person is given a certain amount of years that you want to live on Earth. So
yeah. And you got these reincarnation cases that
right.
are pretty strong. A lot of them are.
So you pick somebody, so you pick a mother. Let's say you pick 40 years. You want to live 40 years? Okay. You go in there. They design your body, whatever, to live to be 40 years old. And if you die too soon, you have to stay in your other form on Earth in the other dimension until you fulfill those 40 years out.
Well, what about this? When you're created as a light being, what if you're given that choice, then like you said, they tell you, well, you're going to be alive on this planet like 40 times, so you're going to have to pick 40 different mothers.
Oh, my God.
That's right now.
Right.
I want to know we're going to... You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. You have to live as 40 different species of human or whatever.
And isn't it funny how, like, someone... Like, you have all these old pictures where, you know, these YouTube videos where they say, hey, this famous actor looks just like this guy from, like, 100 years ago.
Right.
And this old, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that was him then. And he, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they keep going. And isn't it funny how that guy just happened to like classical piano, but now this new guy looked just like him 100 years later? This actor is famous on classical piano? How could this be possible? He looks the same like guy, you know?
And some of them come back with the same birthmarks.
Yeah, and the same talent, and they become famous in their new life as a new guy in this. You know what I'm saying? So it is the 40-time thing. You're going to be alive 40 times and pick your talent every time. The guy has got similar talents because it's the same soul. It's the same person, you know?
Keanu Reeves, Tom Cruise, Eddie Murphy, supposedly they're all part of that. You know, being in pictures of the past.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. Yeah, I'm fascinated by that because, like, you know, the reincarnation stories and all that, you know, maybe you did get another chance. Maybe some people don't. Maybe, you know, who knows?
Maybe they lived their 40th, you know, and that was the last time. That's why they're not haunting. That's the haunting thing. This is the other thing. To be there, I can get I had some other opinions on it that were kind of things I don't want to believe that it could be possible, and this is what I think that it could be the spirit thing, where they're stuck here. They maybe I like to think they can go to heaven and come back to visit us because they give them the power to do that. But in another scenario, what if you're good and all that, and you do what God wants, you go to heaven, and then you're in heaven, you can't come back, and only the people that are stuck here that can come back are people that are going to be going to hell soon when the judgment's coming. And that's another thing I don't really like to think about, because I'm thinking, what if these people are just waiting to be judged? But you can't think that, because you're hearing kids' voices in the background on EVPs and children. Right.
Like a loving God's not going to make a kid be stuck in purgatory till the judgment day and take other people to heaven. That doesn't make sense to me. And another thing of it could be is that once someone's dead, they either go to heaven or hell right then and there. And what all these things are demonic forces trying to mimic people, and because they know everything about everybody, so they're going to try to lead people astray by mimicking a voice of a spirit or of a person to make you think it was a spirit that passed, someone that passed away, when it's really not. And they're just trying to fake the guy's voice and fake everything about him to try to lead you into thinking that they're spirits, because once you think they're spirits, then that leads you astray of what God's words is, you know, true, you know, to be. So, you know, I know a little bit about the Bible, and I've raised Christian and stuff like that, so I know like a lot of stuff about it. And there's a lot of contradictions, and like ghost spirits, UFOs, and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff contradicts the Bible, and a lot of it goes with the Bible. Like it's a case by case scenario on different stuff. It depends. Some UFO sightings in the Bible could be genuine alien sightings and not angelic or angels at all, you know, and vice versa, you know. So same thing with spirits and all that stuff. It's kind of once you start going down that course, there's no answers to any of it, really, you know.
No, nobody knows. That's the beauty of it all.
It's just opinions. It's just opinions and experience and knowledge of what you can come up with in your, you know, whatever, however long that we've lived here. This is what we've come up in our mind of what we studied and what we think we can relate it to.
But somewhere in there is the truth.
Yes, the truth is there. The truth is out there, somewhere in there. But we'll never know until we meet it.
Do you meet your maker, brother?
But it's fun to talk about, isn't it?
Oh, it's hell of fun to talk about, dude. I mean, that's the biggest mystery of all. What happens when we die?
And that's what got me into all the UFO stuff too, is because the mysteries in the universe are all they're all wrapped around the UFO thing. You got the life after death thing wrapped around the UFO mystery, the Bigfoot mystery. Like any mystery you can't explain, it's wrapped in it around these other mysteries. You know what I'm saying? They all hold that common thread to themselves, you know?
So we're sitting here with Jeff Willis, the original Skywatcher, UFO researcher, Phoenix, Arizona. And we're going to be doing another 4 hours tonight, so I'm glad you guys are sitting in. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say I meant another about 30 minutes or so.
There you go.
This, as always, goes by real fast when I have you on.
Yeah, always.
And I like that we're talking about something different, which is I hoped we did, because you're on so much, not so much, but in ufology it's not really that busy, and it's not like you're catching UFOs like Jeff Woolwine. So, oh, I wanted to show everybody your website. So tell people where they can meet you. I mean, you're not leaving yet. I'm just saying.
Oh, no,
I'm going to show people your website because I can now.
Yeah. Okay, my website's ufosoverphoenix.com. The original ufosoverphoenix.com. And the reason why, you know, and this is the thing, I don't mean any disrespect by saying that I'm the original UFO hunter. The reason, because I'm really not, really. To be honest with you, no, because there was some others before me. There was Tom King, and there was John Bro, and there was Tim Edwards, you know, that filmed the slider thing. There was some people that hunted.
Yeah, but where are they now, brother?
Yeah. But see, the reason why I put the original...
Yeah.
This is it. The reason why I put the original is because when people like these hoaxers like Jeff Woolwine and these other guys start coming out of the woodwork, I didn't want anybody to get me confused with these low-level people, you know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So yes, I put the original to say, hey, you know, I'm the original guy, you know, no Johnny-come-latelys around, you know. But anyways... You know, we don't want to just say, hey, you know, our footage is the only real UFO footage out there. No, it's not what we believe in. Anybody can film a UFO, but don't try to peddle fake footage out there and try to claim you can film UFOs when all your footage is phony. I mean, come on. Of course, we're going to have to start branding ourselves as the original guy after all these muddied, watered people come in, you know.
So I was the bad boy of ufology. Somebody out here, this guy named Chris George Zuger stole that. Not that I don't even know if he knew that's what I called myself, but he's using it. And I'm like, but I'm the original bad boy.
Yeah, you're the original bad boy. No one's got that on you. I mean, okay. But yeah, ufosoverphoenix.com, ufosoverphoenix.net, and ufofootage.net. And the original UFOs Over Phoenix, Volume 1, that could be... I got DVDs on my website. And it's footage. It's not... That's the thing, man. When we do our thing, we just show you what it's all about. You know, we don't get up there and yak for a half hour about theories and all this other junk. You know, when I shoot a UFO DVD, we're going to give you all the footage. So you might, and you know, that's kind of funny because I was digging out some old DVDs and I come across that DVD you gave me way back in like 2005 where you made your own UFO footage DVD and had like the Mars attacks thing at the beginning and then it had like Metallica or something.
Oh yeah, I still have that.
Man, this is pretty cool stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that I like, that I do too. You know, we put the footage together, throw some stuff on there, you know, make it cool.
Yeah, but back then, I didn't know what the hell I was videotaping, really. I mean, there was some things I had, but there's so many. I have fast walkers that are actually on that video, but I didn't know they called them fast walkers until I did the movie. So
well, see that coin was termed on the Art Bell show by some people, and they liked it, and so they decided to run with it because this fast walkers thing was around years before these people decided that, oh, that's the coin to fame. Let's grab that phrase and make a DVD called that. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't the originals of that term, you know. But I remember that I got called by those guys, fast walkers. They wanted me to put my video on there, and unfortunately. They wanted me to do it for free, basically, and so I turned it down. I'm sorry. Maybe, and I thought I felt bad about it because I thought to myself, the reason why I turned it down, and this is the deal. Okay, I got called from Discovery Channel and also Travel Channel, and they offered me money to be on their shows. Okay, and so I was told by some people, you know, if a show calls you and doesn't offer you at least money for your footage, then tell them no, because they're just trying to use you, you know, and your footage. They're just trying to get a free ride, you know. And so they were the first people that tried to get me to do a free show, and I just had to put the hammer on them. But after that, after I got off the phone with them, I really felt bad about it because I thought, well, maybe I could just do the show for free. You know, but it was already too late, you know, so I didn't want to bother them with it. But I have done shows for free after that, kind of, you know, learned that lesson. Because it's not all about the money, and it never was. But the thing of it is when these big TV shows want to put your footage on a travel channel show special, or a Ancient Aliens TV show or whatever, like they did for me, you know, it's like these are big multi-million-dollar, you know, businesses. You know, why would they call me and say, can we use your footage and use your story and use it for free?
Whoa, I'm getting
like,
a series of lights right there.
That
I got it.
Have the audacity to
do you hear that?
You got it, Pat?
Do I hear what?
I'm playing your video of your jumping lights.
Dude, I got 5 lights
no, I can't hear
just like the Josh thing.
But anyways, that's how I felt. I was like, man, you're gonna. I mean, I would be more than willing to do my thing for free, but I mean, you know, I mean, I know you guys got deep pockets. Like, why wouldn't you want to try to help me out? Why wouldn't you try to hook me up? I'm trying to help you with the show. Why wouldn't you offer me something that's respectable? I mean, I'm a video photographer. I'm a videographer.
Whoa, I'm getting a series of lights.
You know, photographers.
I got it.
That's how they make their living. Is through their videos.
You got it, Pat?
I'm playing your video again of the jumping lights. Now you're on a mountain over here, looking towards the west. It looks like, and you got these lights.
I got it on tape.
Jumping over each other.
Now, over the left.
This I just noticed something on this video because I never watched it on a screen this big before. What people are looking at, you see 3 lights, and then the one in the back on the right seems to have jumped over to 2 in the front, and then it shows up. But in the background, I see flashes, like other lights that are taking off or trying to appear. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Whoa, I'm getting a series of lights right there.
I'm playing it again.
I got it.
But it's so far away, I really don't know what to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, and that's the video that got me on Art Bell to talk with them, you know, on the show. You know, the prior time I explained I was on a tape recording with Linda Howe, and I was played on the show as an investigative sighting that I had in 1997. But this was in 2005, and this got me on the show. And it's amazing footage. I mean, you know, we got tons of that stuff with Josh and you, all that stuff was happening in that Cave Creek area for some reason. And we pinpointed it, and we were like, wait a minute, you know, there's no military base there, and the Deer Valley Airport is right in the middle of this area. Like, why would they drop flares in a landing zone for Deer Valley Airport? The military wouldn't do that.
No.
I mean, that's yeah. So this has got to be something unexplainable.
What can I play here that give me something that's phenomenal?
Are you on my YouTube? Or,
should I go to your
website?
YouTube?
I would go to the YouTube because there's more of a variety if you click videos on there, because the site is the site has the link to the videos, and the site also has downloads too, but it's for convenient purposes. My YouTube channel would probably be the way to go.
I'm on your hold on, I'm almost there. So which one should I go to?
A really good one that I always liked was that 420 2006, remember?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
That's pretty amazing to me, and that's got to be something unexplainable.
420. What's it called? 420 2006.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find it.
I know there was a short version and a long version, but maybe there's just a short version. I can't remember.
Oh, these are not in chronological order. I see.
No, they're not. No, that's another thing about YouTube is when I find stuff in videos hadn't posted, I just put them up there and it's all over the place, all over the map.
Oh no, I was just talking out loud because I thought I was coming up to it, and then it went to 2001, 2007. Here's that's not it. I know I got to be close. Jesus.
Yeah, it's on there somewhere. You'll find it. It might be on my top video, or I don't know how the page displays itself, but on mine sometimes it says top videos, and that's like one of them. Sometimes.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, Phoenix Lights UFOs.
4/20/2006. Is that what it's? Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I don't know if I'll hear it or not.
No, you won't. So I see a light above a street light, and then it. Oh, what the hell's that?
Holy shit!
Exactly.
What happened? There was one light, and then these 2 or 3 sprouted out off behind it, and whoa.
All hell breaks loose.
What is that? Let me play it again.
It's amazing because it started out as one light, and then 2 appeared, and then.
Whoa.
But I filmed it as only one orb for like 2 minutes before any of that stuff happened, even. Which is really crazy.
Well, they're really colorful, too. That's not a drone? No, drones weren't around back then.
No. Not only is it not a drone, but it was huge. It was like the size of like a couple trucks put together, like a couple Suburbans like if you would park like maybe 4 Suburbans long, like in a parking space, one after another.
Holy shit,
like long
really?
ways. Yeah. Like, like big.
Whoa.
I'm playing it slower. Oh, that was weird. I just saw something there. It looked like... oh my god, dude!
Yeah, and the way that it disappears, it just completely shuts off, too.
No, listen to this. There's an anomaly that happens with these lights. Now, when I'm looking at your video and I see a light, it looks like some sort of lens crosses in front of it. And is creating the spinning effect of the other 2 lights or 3 lights that appear. There's something that crosses at the 9-second mark in front.
I saw that in the original clip and on the master tape when I was analyzing it. I played it over and over and over again, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on up there with that thing.
Look at this. Hold on. Yeah, dude, this is something.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know, brother.
Holy
that
shit.
is bizarre stuff. Where was this taken at in Phoenix?
That was taken on 47th, 48th Avenue and Peoria. Looking east. On top of my house, on the roof of my house, looking east.
That's crazy. I never remembered seeing that. So then I see this one from January 31st, 09. I see 3 white dots in the screenshot here. Do you remember what that is?
Is that the flotilla or the? Does it look like the?
Yeah, it looks like fleet.
Yeah, the fleet. Yeah, that's one of my only fleet videos. You know, the 2005.
Oh, here it is. No, this is 2009.
Yeah, but I was saying that 2009. That's really great because it spawns different UFOs out of the bottom, like it multiplies. But I'm saying I don't. What I was going to say is I only have 3 fleets, and I considered that 2005 footage of the red lights, the one that got me on Art Bell. I kind of put that into my fleet category since I don't have very many fleets. So I would say that I have 3 fleet videos. But that white one, the one you're talking about right there, is really good. And I had got a black fleet of black objects, but the white one, that one's a little bit better because it spawns multiple objects out of it.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm buying you a tripod.
Well, yeah, I had... You know what? This is the thing. Me and Tom talk about this all the time. Is sometimes when UFOs come straight over you, you can't get the tripod in that position, so you have to take the camera off, and then you videotape something amazing that no one else out there has, and then they criticizes you for not having the tripod.
That's
and there
weird.
was no way you could film it straight up and down. So, I mean, these people that always criticize videos of ufology, of, oh, it bounces around and does all that stuff, a lot of that time is, the reason why that is because some of the times you can't get it on the tripod. You have to get the camera off the tripod to get that footage sometimes. It's just the way it is. People just don't understand that.
Yeah, I've never had that problem looking straight up with my tripod. You could also get a handheld tripod.
Well, when
too.
it's straight up but moving, that's the problem, is what I'm saying. When it's moved, yeah, it's kind of... some people don't have the problem, but me, I have it a lot of times. I can't... I mean, they get in a position where it's on the tripod and you just can't get it.
See,
I mean, no matter what you do on the tripod, you cannot get it, and you have to take the camera off to get it. But yeah, watch that, and at the end, you're going to see it spawn other objects out of it.
Well, I did, and it looked like there was 2 more objects that came out of it.
Yeah.
And then it went beyond the house. Or
Yeah.
Very cool, man. I never saw that one before. So,
did you ever see my fleet video of the black objects that went by the office building window?
I don't know. Where is
yeah,
it
you got
on
to keep scrolling down. It's on there. It's on there somewhere. It's like 2002 or something. Or no, it's like 2001 or something like that.
What is it called?
I can't remember. I got so many videos. It's what you see is a screenshot of like what looks like 3 or 4 black objects.
Okay.
That you would be looking for, but it was like 2001, I believe it.
Is it October?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think that might be it.
All right, here we go.
It's the only other fleet video if it's got more than a few black ones. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's this. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh yeah. Oh, I remember this one.
Yeah. Now at first. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. Let's let it play out. What is going on? I've never seen it do that before. I haven't seen it this way since.
Which
wasn't way? Well, it looked like. Hold on, let me start it over. That looked really weird.
Oh yeah, it's definitely up there in the weird.
Well, it looked like they were shooting out sparks or something on one of them. Yeah. It looked
Yeah,
like flashing.
I really did see that. I saw like some sort of like anti-gravity mechanism underneath these things that looked like it was like propelling it. To me, it seems like.
Is this the one where one of them takes off and does its own thing? Yeah, that one is kind of doing its own thing. That's a really cool fleet. That's one of the best. That's amazing shit right there. Yeah.
Yeah. This was 2000, in the year 2001, was it? Yeah, 2001. Yeah. I mean, and this was doing it for 3 years at that point. I'd been doing it maybe 4.
Dude, look at that. I've never seen this version of it. Wow. See, I can't say those are balloons because because I don't see any wind, and I know they're a little further out there. But those are moving, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're going probably 30, 40 miles an hour, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, and they're big, too, because they're far away. I mean, and I was in the top of a building. I was in, like, the 3rd or 4th floor of a telemarketing office.
Oh, man, that's crazy
cool.
cool.
And I used to film stuff out the window all the time at that job. That's probably why they got rid of me. They were, like, on my break, of course, but... They probably thought I was doing it on my job too, because if I saw something good, I'd put the phone down and start videotaping it,
So there's so many videos, Jeff. It's like, how can people not? I mean, I think people more never believe, but this is.
Well, that was my whole mission, is to get the word out, because like I got into it myself, reading about it, and learning about it, but I also had some weird experiences growing up as a kid where it kind of convinced me that they were there, the whole time. So I don't know if like people are born into this type of stuff in a way. It seems like we are. Like, did you have an interest in UFOs your entire life since you're like 5 years old or whatever?
Yes.
I have too. So the people that are into UFOs, they share that common theme, most of them, that they were interested very young, like 5, 6 years old. And that came into the whole play of the UFO abductee thing. It's that Bud Hopkins and David Jacobs and Yvonne Smith noticed the cornerstone of all the UFO abductees is that they were interested or felt that they were abducted when they were 5 or 6 years old the very first time. And so it's a cornerstone of ufology too. That's why I think there's not very many people involved in this subject, and that the people that are involved deeply in the subject have that same common bound, but the people that are involved in it by curiosity don't have that common bound when they're just held to it as a curiosity, like not a strong like not like a magnet, like where we know that UFOs will be into UFOs forever for our whole life, but people that are concerned, like are kind of, they have a curiosity about it. Maybe they'll get involved with UFOs and try to learn a little bit about it, or they'll have a fascination with it, and they'll try to learn a lot of stuff about it, but they won't hold that same connection that I think the people that you know, like me or you or other people, maybe that is why. Maybe we were abducted, or maybe we have there's something in the back of our mind that we, in our subconscious, that we know that we don't know consciously about the subject, you know. So I don't know.
I remember being very young and having dreams of seeing UFOs. When I moved to Arizona, I lived across the street from a school, and before 6th grade started out, we used to play baseball in the schoolyard, in the little baseball field, which was right across the street from my house. I used to dream about seeing a UFO on the baseball field, you know, like a 20-foot disc-shaped UFO. And then when we moved 3 years later, I had some unbelievably wild dreams about UFOs. Like, I woke up from these dreams and I was so happy, Jeff, that I knew UFOs were real because the dream was so real.
Yeah, that's how it happened to me too. I had a dream that I was flying through the sky, and I was on some type of, this was like when I was like 7 years old. I had a dream that I was flying like Superman, flying through the sky. Yeah, and then we started going real slow, and I started getting scared because I felt I was going to fall.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I fell, right? And when I fell, when I woke up, I felt like I was coming through the ceiling, spinning and landing on my bed, like from a high distance, like from like 2 or 3 feet off the ground, like it come in down from the ceiling and thrown back into my bed from like 4 or 5 feet off from the ceiling back in the bed, and that happened like 5 or 6 times.
Unbelievable.
Where I was dropped down like that, and I thought to myself, this has got to be aliens or UFO. This has got to be something like that. And sure enough, for some reason, I would want to go like in the playground when it started getting dark and all the kids were supposed to start going home to their parents' house. I would want to stay in the playground, and I'd try to convince a couple other kids to stay with me because it's starting to get dark, and I told them that we're going to be here because I want to stay out here because I'm going to see some UFOs are going to show up. And this is when I'm like 6 or 7 years old. I'm saying this stuff, you know. So and the library thing, like we talked before, at the school public library in kindergarten and 2nd grade, I would check out all these UFO books out of the library, and you said you did some of the similar stuff like that too.
Same exact thing. There was no book that went unread. I read everything.
Exactly.
And back then, it wasn't like they had Barnes and Noble or things like that. They had bookstores, but they weren't huge. But
no, they had like J. Allen Hynek and the Project Blue Book and the assessment of UFOs and stuff like this. But books that were printed in the 60s and 50s and 70s.
No. In the 80s, I was going to say, they had the guy with the one arm. His book came out.
Oh, Billy Meyer,
with all those pictures of the UFOs.
But that came out in 1975, though. That book.
I know, but I didn't know about it until the 80s, and then they put all the pictures together in this beautiful book, and
the coffee table book. Yeah. Like 1976.
That's right. I loved that book back then, but
I wanted to buy it, but it was like $57 or something like that. I was like, holy mackerel.
Yeah, I remember it being too expensive for my taste too. So I sat there and I read and I watched the whole thing. If I would have had a video phone, I would have taken pictures of it. You know.
Well, the reason why it was so expensive is because when you bought that book, a lot of people had to get paid for that book. You know,
back
they had to split that money up. You know, so.
Frickin' A, man. A lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, you know, when we're going, you know, in the 70s and 80s, reading about this stuff like J. Allen Hynek and the Project Blue Book and Project Sign and all the past of UFOs, all the history of ufology and the history of UFOs, you get sucked into it. And, you know, when you notice, someone that doesn't know anything about UFOs doesn't know the history of UFOs. And the history of UFOs goes back before Roswell, you know, even.
Yeah, big time.
Of course, to the cave paintings and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
you know, and writings. But the modern era ufology basically started with Kenneth Arnold and Roswell, and then it built up from Project Sign, Project Blue Book, Project Grudge, you know, and the Condon Report. I mean, the government's had their meddlings in UFOs for a long time, and maybe it's, of course, it's to find out what it is, you know, to see if we can be the first to analyze it and get a, you know, figure it out, like the Robert Lazar story we were talking about earlier. Maybe they have aspects of it. Maybe they don't know everything about it. Like Robert Lazar said, he said that this craft, we don't know how it works. We're trying to back engineer it, and he is convinced that even to this day that we don't know how that thing works, because like he said in the video, it's like dropping a smartphone into the caveman era and say, make this.
No way.
Is what he said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's no way to do it.
If you took a motorcycle and brought it back 100 years, they couldn't make it.
Exactly.
I mean, you know,
they not only did they not have the intelligence to do it, but they didn't have the factories, they didn't have the machinery, and they didn't have the way to make the metallurgy. So there's so many factors that come in. Now think of a civilization that's 1,000,000 years ahead of us. Think about the discoveries that we're going to make in 100,000 years. Think about the discoveries that we'll make in only 100 years. Think about the discoveries that we'll make in 10,000 years.
Jeff,
I mean,
think
come on.
about what discoveries we are going to make in 50 years when we're not here.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, we can have, I mean, this Blade Runner concept where these people are created through genetic material, and these replicants are walking around that look everything like a human being, but they're not at all a human being, and they're not at all a computer either. They're genetic material that's programmed as an entity that's just been made up through biologic material, and they're not born, and they live whatever lifespan they give them, and they are the advanced AI intelligence of the future, you know what I'm saying, in genetic material and everything. And this is what some of these alien civilizations may be after thousands of years of, you know, their DNA. Maybe they aren't born anymore. Like at what point of a civilization, of a planet species, do they become entities that are no longer born from their spawn, and they're at that point genetically engineered life forms at some point? You know what I'm saying? At what point do they not have life anymore in their life forms? You know what I'm saying?
I know, man. It's
so
crazy.
maybe these beings aren't life forms. They're genetic material with their own programmed agenda. They're never born from their own species, or hatched through a mating process or whatever. They're all genetically engineered through whatever computer or whatever sci-fi, you know, whatever you can imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're gonna have to leave it on that note, Jeff.
Yeah.
This was freaking awesome as always. I can't believe we did another 2 hours here.
Absolutely. And UFOs, like I said, UFOsoverPhoenix.com, UFOsoverPhoenix.net, and UFOfootage.net. And, you know, we got DVD, shirts, stuff like that, little stuff to help spread the word, you know. It's not about the money, but it's about spreading the word. So that's, and videos and everything.
Are you going to see the Bob Lazar movie? You going to buy it or rent it or however it's available?
I have, you know, these movie sharing links that I can watch it for free, you know, and I'll probably do that. You know, but what else could there be said?
No, I don't know. But
you know?
Supposedly it's sold out everywhere, brother. Everybody's watching it.
Everybody's gonna love it. Hey, we always love something new.
Well, you know, I think
UFOs, even when it's not really new.
No, I know, but all I think we need to do is just read everybody's comments over the next week.
Well, see, if you can take an old story and repackage it a million ways, you'll always find somebody that's gonna throw it out there.
That's true.
You know. But
I don't know.
Hey, but good luck, man, and on the show on the new GUFON network, and I look forward to being on air again sometime in the future. And until then, you know, keep hunting, keep looking. You'll get it.
It was good talking to you, and I will catch up with you soon.
Awesome. I'll watch the show tomorrow so I can see the full show instead of just looking at myself on the computer.
You know, I think it came out choppy too. There was some. It was glitchy. The audio was fine, but we were glitchy the whole show.
Oh,
I know. I'll try to fix it. Anyway,
but that's all right.
Well, thanks,
all
man.
Right.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon. It was the best interview ever. Thanks again.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too, brother. Jeff Willis, that was awesome. And you know, I want to apologize if it didn't come out clear on the video part, but at least the audio was good, and that's all that really mattered, I guess. I think I know where it went wrong, guys. I think it was just a setting that I accidentally changed. Frickin' A, man. You know, I tried to make it too perfect and I got too close to the sun trying. Well, thanks for listening to GUFON Radio. We'll be back Sunday, so enjoy the weekend. And you can listen to me Saturday, I believe, on the Barcast. I interview Soraya Azcash from Where the Roads Go. I think that's the name of the show. Forgive me if I forget. But I did an interview. I'm doing other things, so